Learn how you can call other services from inside your Azure SQL database this week on Data Exposed. Hi, I'm Anna Hoffman, and welcome to this episode of Data Exposed. Today, I'm joined by Brian. Brian, thanks so much for coming on Data Exposed again. And today, we're going to be talking about a really exciting announcement. What is it?
Yeah, thanks, Anna. To start, I'd like to say that our invoke external REST endpoint, the ability to call REST endpoints from within the database, has gone GA.
Awesome. That is super exciting for folks who know about this service. But if we back up, let's talk about what is it? Why should folks be excited about this?
Sure. So let me just really quick run some slides here. And let's start with a question that we've gotten from our development community. And the question is, I really want to use other services and products with my Azure SQL database. I want to use maybe the event grid or the event service, or I want to use functions. How am I able to do that, or is that even possible? And the answer to that question is yes. And that's our external REST Endpoint Invocation service that we have within the database. It's a simple stored procedure. And with this stored procedure, I'm able to call other Azure services within Azure that I may be subscribed to or that I may want to start using from scratch.
Nice. That seems pretty exciting. I could see lots of opportunities now, but I also maybe there's some security concerns.
Yeah. So we can integrate to many, many services. And here is just a quick overview of all the services that we have available today. And it ranges from, as I said, functions to OpenAI, to table storage, all the way to even Power BI and Dynamics. So directly from your database, you can use your data or go and grab data or use them in a conjunction with each other to play with these other services and be able to use them in new ways that maybe you've never thought of using a service before, or maybe you had to create some external process that you had to maintain and deal with and upgrade. Now it's built directly into the database.
Awesome.
So going back to your question is, why would I even use this? So here's some an overview of why you would even use this. And let's start with just activating workflows. So this is one that we had a lot of call for is, if something happens within my database or I want to notify something of an event happening in my database, how do I easily do this? And we can use this service to go and either send emails or notifications, or maybe even call out to Azure Logic apps to start a workflow based upon an event or a trigger from right inside of the database. Data enrichment, which we actually kind of have a demo for after this, but being able to go and call a service, maybe the demo that we actually have here is going and calling a currency and seeing what the exchange rate is, and then grabbing that exchange rate and applying it to a column within our database and either updating it or just doing a select and seeing what things are, or doing an insert. So going out and calling external services to enrich, to change, to update our data right within our database. Also, if something changes within the database, I can kind of invalidate caches with the new values, and that kind of goes to our last scenario, is creating a data stream or an update stream. If something changes within that database, I'm able to take that update or that insert or that delete and send it to an Azure Event Hub or to a function. And then from there, it'll partake in other workflows, or other people are able to pick it up and apply it maybe in a microservices type of pattern. We can update websites. It's compatible with SignalR, so we can broadcast this message and it can update multiple websites, which actually goes to our Power BI. We're able to use Power BI so you can have dials and switches and reports move in real time based upon what's happening with your database. And lastly, I kind of touched on it again before, but integrating with event-based architectures. That seems to be a very big thing today with modern applications is event-based architectures using things such as Event Hub or Kafka or these hub systems where I'm able to take these events, put them on this hub or this queue, and then other services can take that message and do something with it. Maybe in that microservices pattern, we are an inventory system and we need to ship something out. We take that order, we put it onto that hub and that event system, and then it's picked up and it goes over to the shipping system where it takes it, packs it, and ships it out from that system. So it really opens up your database to a whole host of other services that normally you either had to write custom code for or you just didn't have access to in the past.
Nice. That's awesome. I mean, super exciting. Lots of opportunities I see for customers, for developers. Even myself, like a couple years ago, I really wanted to call existing APIs. It just wasn't really possible to do. Anything else folks should be aware of before we take a look at some demos?
Obviously, security. Security is on top of everyone's mind. Is this what you're using here? And is it secure? Can someone just go in there and start shooting data out to random services? The answer to that is no. It does require a role in the database. So you must have the execute any external endpoint permission in the database. And then calling services as well. We provide or we give you the ability to use multiple types of authentication. You can use header authentication. Maybe you're passing a token, query string. It's part of that query string. Or even more importantly is managed identity. So within Azure, I can have my database proclaim itself as a secured entity and allow it to interop with other services just because it is given that role and able to do so. And that's something we'll actually look at in the demo. Instead of passing around passwords or tokens or passkeys, I can set it up with managed identity and say, hey, I'm authorized to do this, and the other service will interoperate with it without a problem directly to it. Again, no passwords, no passkeys, no remembering things. Very easy to do, but very, very secure because you define exactly what role you want that managed identity or managed service to do or to use across systems.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's going to make a lot of people feel a lot better about using this in a secure fashion.
Yeah, so as you said, let's just jump into some demos here and just a quick overview of what we'll see here. The first demo we're going to look at is calling Azure Functions, and we're going to pass Azure Functions some data. It's going to come back and give us that data back from what we asked it, and then apply it to some stuff in our database. Secondary, we're going to look at cognitive services, and we're going to look at the content moderation service, and we're going to send it a string of text, and we're going to say, hey, in this string of text, do you see any personal identifying information in there, maybe an address or a phone number? And also, do you see any profanities in there? Now, it's a family program, so we can't go crazy with our profanities, but we'll see what we can do with that, and it's going to give us a report back. The third demo we're going to look at is with OpenAI. AI is very popular these days, so let's see how we can use OpenAI with our database and pass it some information and get some information back from AI. And then lastly, we're going to look at Azure Blob Storage, working with files, reading files, putting files onto Azure Blob Storage. So again, maybe you can use this in a scenario of you're putting things on logs, or maybe in that events-based architecture, it's still using files, and I can put a flat file on into Blob Storage where it can be picked up and looked at by another system. So let's just jump right in here. So the first thing we're going to do is look at functions. And this is a very simple trigger function, as we see here, and it's sitting in Azure. And what we're going to do is we're going to pass it a currency, and we're going to use the Japanese yen. And it's going to return a conversion or the conversion between Japanese yen and dollar. And then we're going to take that and apply it to the price column within the AdventureWorks product database. So you can see that right here. We're going to take that conversion, apply it, and then see what it is. So I can just run this very quickly. And so here we have our response back, but more importantly, we see that our currency and our conversion rate. As I just scroll down here, we can see that we applied that currency rate to our price column. And you can see what the price is from the US price and then the converted price in yen. We just did a quick little math there. So you can kind of see how you can use this for checking your data or updating your data with external services. Maybe you're using it for geocoding. Maybe you're using it for, as we see here, taking the currency and seeing what the conversion rate is and applying it to your prices. So very simple demo, but it's very powerful because we can take data from another system and apply it directly into our Azure database. And again, I have to just to reiterate, everything we're doing is within an Azure SQL database. Next, we'll talk about that cognitive services demo that we talked about with the profane word. But more importantly, we're going to start using our database credentials here, our managed identity. And right here, we can easily create our managed identity directly inside of our database. And then we set it up through the Azure portal that we say this particular database can participate in using other services from cognitive services. So very easy. You run this, it's going to create the managed identity. We're all set. Now we can run this against cognitive services, and all we have to do is provide it with the credential that we have. We don't have to get passwords, we don't have to get tokens, we don't have to get keys. We can just run it directly with that managed identity and passing it in the credentials. So I can just run this here, and we'll see what it produces. We'll take a quick look at this. And what this does is it took that text string and we had it look for PII. So it found that there was an email address in there. It found that there was an IP address in there and it flagged it. It found there was a phone number. There was an address in there.
Wow.
And then it did find a very profane word and it gave it an index of how severe the profane word is. So you can see that this is very helpful maybe if you're doing content moderation with forums or you're doing something where you're taking in bunches of text and you need to put it somewhere and you need to look to make sure that there's nothing leaking as we see here with private identified information or anything profane.
Awesome. That's so cool. And it's really quick too. It's not like it took minutes or even like milliseconds.
It is very quick. So next we can look at AI. Again, AI is very popular these days. Everyone's using it. So how can we use it within the Azure SQL database? So this is going to be a very simple one to start. And what we're going to do, we're just going to ask it, why is the sky blue? Very simple. But we can see that we can go and use these ChatGPT prompts. Now, what's interesting about this is this AI service is within Azure. It's my personal AI system that I have and created in Azure. So I can, if I need to tweak the training or give it some other language models, I can do that and then just using a generic chat service that OpenAI provided or some other service would provide. This is directly deployed within my Azure instance, or my Azure account, I should say. So if we just run this, it's going to go and it's going to return why the sky is blue here. And there it is. And I'll just grab Y and I'll put it into a text pad or a notepad here. And we'll see what it says. And so there it is. There it gave us a quick answer of why the sky is blue.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Got to come up with some ideas for how I'm going to use ChatGPT in my database, but I'm excited about it.
The next demo will actually show you how to use it with data in your database. So what we have here is, this is actually taking from an article that Buck Woody did recently about using AI with your database. Now, the difference here is he was using AI in the database and he was calling some services within the database. And mainly he was using the SQL Server machine learning services. Now in Azure SQL Database, we don't actually have access to those to an extent because we can't go to the OS and run Python scripts or certain scripts. We don't have access since it is a PaaS service. But we can bypass that entire thing and just directly call OpenAI with our data. So this is what we're doing here. We have a simple query right here, and we're just getting the name and the description from the view, the product and description sales view. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pass it into our ChatGPT prompt. And we're going to say, you're a marketing executive. We want you to write 200 or 300 words, characters of ad copy for selling this particular product from our database. So actually, you can run this real quick to show you what the product is. And it is a mountain bike, and it just says this is a mountain bike, delivers performance, high level performance on a budget, et cetera, et cetera. Just a very simple description there with that. So if we run this whole thing, what it's going to do is it's going to contact our prompt, our ChatGPT service that we have in Azure. It's going to say, hey, I want you to create this ad copy for us. I want you to say I'm a marketing executive, and I want you to create something that I could use in, say, maybe a blog post or maybe an advertising campaign. Yeah. So here it is. It's done. We'll go and grab what it said. And we'll just put it here. And there, it's a little big, but this basically created this for us without having to go and get an ad exec. Just if I wanted to do this very quickly and create some cool blurb with AI, I'm able to do this. And we can see that it does give us actually a pretty decent response that I can now take and, as I said, use for a blog post or in social media or something like that.
Awesome. That is super cool. Yeah, I love this. I love how you're able to just do things a lot easier. I've used SQL machine learning services before, and it's great, and I love it. And, you know, it's been a long time asked to do an Azure SQL database. But I think for a lot of things like this, this is actually going to be so much easier, so much less code to write, to just call the service directly and get your responses directly and deal with them accordingly. Brian, any like tips or tricks for folks who are just getting started?
Yeah, so we have a good deal of documentation that we can use. We have lots of blog posts, and we'll include it in the description of this video. And we also have a huge repository on GitHub of samples calling OpenAI, calling Power BI, calling Event Hub, calling all these different services very easy and quickly. And as I said before, we've on our dev blogs, I think I've blogged multiple times about this with each one of these examples in there that you're able to use and see.
Awesome. Great. Well, Brian, thanks so much for coming on the show. For folks tuning in, we hope you enjoyed this episode. If you like this episode, go ahead and check the links in the description to learn more. Leave us a like. Leave us a comment and let us know what you're doing with this new capabilities. And we hope to see you next time on Data Exposed.